Guys, some crazy stuff has been going on in the world of female basketball. But guess who's on top of the headlines today? None other than the best in the league, Caitlin Clark. Yeah, you heard that right, Caitlin Clark. This time, ESPN has just dropped a time bomb on her new European contract. However, it seems like Caitlin Clark has made up her mind to pack up her bags and leave the WNBA for a bigger challenge in Europe, and mouths have not stopped talking, especially ESPN commentators. But before you ask, why does she gotta leave like that? We'll break it down for you in this video. We all already know Caitlin has been doing her thing, holding the league down like it was her playground. She had the stats, the fans, and even the haters glued to every move she made on the court.
Her basketball IQ, her court vision, you just can't say enough about it.
But here's the catch. While Caitlin was working herself out and outdoing every other female basketball player, the league was just letting her get worked. I mean, elbowed, pushed, fouled. The refs threw her to the wolves, and no one's saying anything about it. She even said it herself. In her words, "I feel like I'm getting hammered. Everyone is being too physical with me, and opponents get away with things others wouldn't." You would think the league would go all out to protect their beloved superstar from the brutal tackles she receives on the court. But nah, they'd rather sit back and watch her get punched left and right. And now, the big news is coming like a dirty whack across their faces. But let's talk about the Wonder Girl for a while. I mean, take a look at her trophy and award cabinet. I don't know about you, but that's insane for a 22-year-old woman. We're talking about a player who's an absolute game changer.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in.
She stepped into the league as she owned it, shooting from long range, dropping dimes like it's a piece of cake, and bringing a whole new vibe to the league. You hear lots of fans dropping heartwarming comments that they only tuned in to watch the WNBA just to watch CC play. Now, after Caitlin had put in so much work during the season, she won Rookie of the Year. She decided to take some much needed time off. And you know, everybody deserves a break after hitting numbers like she did.
Caitlin Clark was named WNBA Rookie of the Year yesterday as announced by the league office. Clark received 67 of 68 votes.
She dipped out to Europe, catching some fresh air, playing golf, and living her best life. But what many fans, as well as the media, suspected was this vacation might be more like a low-key business trip, because rumors flying around were that European teams were pushing hard to secure the bag and get her on their roster. Now, you might be thinking, why Europe? Isn't the WNBA a world-class league? And you're right, the WNBA is top tier, but European basketball? It's a whole different ballgame. They are miles ahead of the WNBA. Let's not even talk about the salary. European clubs are throwing out contracts that would make you double take. We're talking six figures, y'all. They roll out the red carpet when they spot rare talents, especially somebody like Caitlin, who has that superstar written all over her. This is the kind of decision that sets you up for wealth for life. Forget the money now, Europe has some real hoopers too. Speaking of the likes of Andalova Gabriela and Anderson Yvonne, the competition out there is serious. They just have their way of pulling the crowd. The arenas are always packed, the atmosphere is lit, and fans are crazy about the game. And we all know Caitlin is a straight shooter from the way she plays, shooting from deep, dropping those fancy no-look passes, and breaking ankles. That's the type of style that would kill in Europe. The fans would eat it up like a giant toast bread. It's all about that finesse game, and Caitlin's got finesse flowing in her veins. She was born ready for this, and now the speculations are everywhere. The big news is all over the internet. CC may have just landed a whopping contract from Europe. Who on earth would say no to that? That's right, she's out, about to sign a fat contract to go play overseas where they know how to treat a baller of her caliber. And now ESPN and the WNBA are feeling betrayed. Well, that's what you get from a player who's discovered her worth. And let's not even talk about her final game. CC put up 29 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds, but she still got dirty by the referees and some of her teammates. How on earth would you miss shots that even high schoolers would score comfortably? Caitlin was out there putting in all the work while her squad was out here throwing bricks and blowing away chances. The WNBA should have been rolling out the red carpet for her, but instead, they fumbled big time. Now, let's get this straight. Some folks are out here taking sides, saying her success was more about what she looks like than what she does on the court. Alyssa Thomas even tried to flip it into a whole race thing, but Caitlyn shut that down real quick, saying she's where she was because of her hustle, period. In an interview, she was asked about her opinion on the words flying around about racism stuff, and her response was just the perfect thing every fan would love to hear. She said it's definitely upsetting, and no one in the league should be facing any sort of racial hurt, but she continually thinks of uplifting the league in a positive light.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats.
You just can't ignore the records she broke, and you can't reduce her grind to some controversy. But that's exactly what the media tried to do. Instead of putting her on a pedestal, they try to stir up drama. She single-handedly carried the WNBA on her back. Her jersey was outselling legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Her games are a must-see on TV. There's nobody else in the league able to draw that type of attention and influence. So now that she's about to leave, the WNBA's out here looking lost. Empty seats, dusty jerseys, and a whole lot of what do we do now? So far, the watch time of the league has dropped by a whopping 50%. ESPN has finally woken up, acting like they just realized they let their golden ticket walk out the door. But they had all the time in the world to get behind her, to promote her like the star she is. Instead, they kept playing it like she was just another player. Nah, Caitlin Clark ain't just another player. She's a generational talent, and the WNBA blew it big time. No doubt basketball is a physical sport, but what Caitlin had to deal with in the WNBA was straight up disrespectful. She was out there getting bodied like it was the UFC. She said it herself.
Thought it was physical. I don't know, obviously it wasn't like the best start in the first half for myself. Getting into foul trouble, and then you got to sit on the bench and try to come back into the game and get into a little bit of a flow.
The refs were silent. The league only watched on. It was wild. How do you let your best player get treated like that? Her first playoff game when she stepped into the league was like a rugby game. Before her arrival, the Indiana Fever would always struggle to draw games, even with just 3,000 fans. There was no enthusiasm, none of the crazy drive for the game. It felt more like a high school basketball game. But since CC made her first appearance, attendance has skyrocketed up to 177,000 fans in each game. That's an over 400% increase. The Indiana Fever rose to the top when it comes to all-around attendance. But now she's moving on to a league where they'll appreciate her skills.
Stays here with Indiana. Clark, a deep one. You bet! A Brooklyn logo bomb from Caitlin Clark.
But here's the big question. What does a move like this mean for Caitlin's future? Would a jump to Europe impact her legacy back home in the States? We already know Caitlin's got the potential to be an all-time great. Some people already call her one of the most exciting players in women's basketball history. If she goes overseas, it certainly won't hurt the name she's made already. In fact, it would even boost it. She wouldn't be the first. Legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner have all done it. They went overseas, got the bag, came back, and still dominated the WNBA. Caitlin could do the same, maybe even better. Plus, this move could make her an even bigger global star. Imagine her face on billboards in Europe, fans rocking her jersey in cities like Madrid and Paris. She could become a straight-up international celebrity. Clark's exit is not just a career move, but a powerful statement on self-worth and respect in sports. So to Caitlin, all we can say is that Europe's about to witness something special. And the WNBA, well, they just learned the hard way that if you don't value your stars, they'll find someone who will. Good luck catching that next big thing. But here's a spoiler alert. You guys already missed this one.